So what do you see in a post-COVID future for the world of business and the world of tech?
That is a great question. Do you want my optimistic answer or my pessimistic answer?
Both.
Okay. My optimistic answer is actually somewhat pessimistic in that basically the world as it is not going to go back to normal. So there will be lots of people that don't have the jobs they used to have that will be looking for new ways to be employed. And we will have a renaissance of home-based business.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to look really interesting. I think it'll be distributed piecework in a certain sense of like, what can people make from home that is kind of like a mini part of a distributed assembly line? I don't know if that's 3D printers or knitting or whatever, but we saw some of this with masks, people making masks and selling them on Etsy and Shopify shops. And like that space, I think will break down some of the barriers between like the freedom that knowledge workers have to work from wherever, like from your van and go to Port Alberni, and the like chain to a desk, like service industry and traditional manufacturing jobs. So I think we might see an interesting renaissance in that. What that means for tech companies really is there's a lot of tech that was Gen 1 that has very quickly gone to Gen 3, right? Like Zoom. Zoom is now, it's like the Google of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense that everybody's on Zoom all the time. Everyone knows what Zoom is and how to use it and why to use it and what to use. And so I think Zoom is now not a place to go build a business, but adjacencies to Zoom now are really obvious. Like, what are all the tools that people need? What are the plugins? What are the training courses? How does this get fleshed out? There'll be another renaissance of like, how does more of the economy get into the tech economy, right? How do more people get to build software, write software, sell software, understand software, work with software? I don't know that turns into more of the low code, no code movement, because they always think they're going to win there and they usually don't. But I think there's an opportunity for new mental models. The other thing that's going to happen, our notions of globalization are up for review.
Mm-hmm.
You know, partly that's climate crisis and people just saying it doesn't make sense to ship everything from China. Like, we're taking advantage of the exploitation of cheap labor elsewhere. Maybe that's ethically irresponsible. Plus, then we're transporting raw goods to one place and manufacturing goods back the other way. And the environmental toll of that is just kind of silly.
Mm-hmm.
And we're starting to see the cracks in those supply chains.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we see a global pandemic, what does that do to supply chains? Maybe we rethink some of that from a resilience standpoint. So economies might decide that resilience is more important than efficiency, which means we're going to pay more for goods that are local. It's like 100-mile diet, but for everything.
Mm-hmm.
That might have some pretty dramatic effects on the labor markets in general. And so there are opportunities, I think, in how we think about labor and tooling around labor and supply chain and logistics.